Let's speak to the journalist and Middle East analyst Nabila Ramdani, who's with me. Is this now the moment where Libya can move on?
It is a hugely significant moment, not least because Saif Gaddafi has always been seen as the heir apparent. And of course, Gaddafi himself has attracted an awful lot of hatred given what his regime represented in Libya.
Is that right, though? Because Oliver Miles, the former British ambassador to Libya, is saying it's only the West who considered that Saif al-Islam was the heir apparent. Colonel Gaddafi never pointed that out officially, and most Libyans didn't look at him like that either, according to Oliver Miles.
Well, I think, this is an unfair assessment of the situation. We've seen how apparently Saif Gaddafi lived up to his role as the son of a violent despot at the beginning of this conflict. And this, is still very much in the minds of the Libyan people, the declarations that he had made at the time. And he allegedly now is accused of allegedly committing atrocities as well. So this is very much held against Saif Gaddafi by the Libyans, but also the international community, and indeed the West will have a huge interest in Saif Gaddafi, not least because he's the architect of the release of Al-Basset al-Megrahi, who was, of course, judged and found guilty for his implication in the Lockerbie bombing.
Just stay with us, and we'll stay with these pictures, actually, because we're just getting through something on the Reuters news agency. Now, this is quoting a man called Wissam Dakali, a member of the Khalid ibn al-Walid battalion of the Abu Bakr al-Siddiq brigade of al-Zintan city. This is the brigade which captured him. He said in a phone interview, apparently, to the pro-interim government Libya TV that Saif al-Islam was in good health. He'd been arrested along with 5 or 6 other criminals, transported to Zintan, and also, interestingly, saying that the rebels would hand Saif al-Islam over to the Libyan government as soon as possible. And that will be key, won't it? When you look at what happened to Colonel Gaddafi himself, taken to Misrata, and then all those negotiations and wrangling over his body, post-mortem and everything else.
Very much so. Gaddafi's body and indeed the body of his son Mu'tasim, who was captured at the same time, both were captured alive. They became very much the property, if I may put it that way, of the Misrata brigade, who made it a point that, he was effectively, they were undoing the Gaddafi regime by capturing Gaddafi, by capturing him, and indeed putting him on display as, very graphic and horrific, dare I say, evidence of as if he were some sort of war trophy.
But this will illustrate, will it, the control or otherwise that the NTC has over the Zintan brigade in terms of whether he is handed over and how he is treated?
I think it is hugely significant for the NTC to be able to override the authority, regional authorities, local authorities, tribal authorities, to be able to give the impression, at least, that it has some sort of, overall authority over the country.
But there'll be no appetite in Libya itself to hand him over to the ICC?
I do not believe so. Of course, the ICC will be very keen to have a high-profile trial involving Saif al-Islam Gaddafi. They would relish that kind of trial. But the Libyans would, they see it as, a domestic matter, and they would very much like to deal with the situation themselves. And of course, this will prove hugely difficult because the justice system in Libya hasn't been tried, if I may put it that way. And it's a new legal system which doesn't exist, hasn't been established.
OK, Nabila Ramdani, thank you very much.